Here is one of my dad's favorite jokes. Two polar bears are sitting in the bathtub. One says, "Pass the soap." The other replies, "What do I look like, a radio?" Here's a question for you. Did you even get the joke? Let's face it, that joke had no meaning. And since it didn't, why are you even laughing? Here are a few reasons why I think you laughed. 1, because it was a very bad joke and maybe you just felt bad for me. 2, the joke was very absurd and made completely no sense. Or 3, you may have laughed because I laughed. And as you should know, laughing is contagious. But if I were to make an offensive joke that maybe even threatened you and everybody else around you laughed at it, would you not laugh at the joke and maybe even tell me it was an offensive joke? Or would you just go with the group and laugh? Most people would laugh at the joke because they think if they didn't laugh, the person who made the joke would be offended. This is why my presentation is going to be on why do people try to be who they are not, and why does it have to be through humor. During this talk, I will focus on 3 key things. 1, the person who makes the jokes and why they do it. 2, the person who laughs at the jokes and why they laugh at offensive jokes. And 3, the science behind humor and what makes a joke truly funny. If you were to look up what humor means in a dictionary, you would get the quality of being humorous. But nowadays, most people's jokes are not funny either because they are too plain and have been heard hundreds of times, or they may have insulted. The whole reason why we always make jokes is because we want to be popular. I mean, who doesn't want to have friends like Teen Titans? But half the times, we don't really think about what other people think of the joke. This type of humor is called aggressive humor. Aggressive humor is where the person who made the joke just assumes that the person they are telling the joke to isn't offended by the joke. Here's a clip from, you'll know in a sec.
Wait! Don't tell me! You want me to run down to the store and buy Mrs. Pop something she doesn't need, then you want me to run back here so you can say, "Arr, SpongeBob, you're spending all me money," and then I'll say, "But Mr. Krabs, I'm only doing what you said." Then you'll say, "We're not talking about this or this, we're talking about this."
As you can see from the clip, SpongeBob didn't really think about Mr. Krabs. He didn't think about what Mr. Krabs was feeling. And if you saw the face of Mr. Krabs, it looked like a plane was going to crash right in front of his face. Let's move on because I don't want to talk about SpongeBob all day. A different style of humor normally found when somebody is feeling down is called self-enhancing humor. Self-enhancing humor is when somebody is feeling down, they normally think the absurdities of life or any crazy thing that is happening. For example, one day at recess, some of my friends and I were playing soccer. My friend named Bob, it's not actually his name, was feeling down because he couldn't score any goals. He then encouraged himself that he's one of the worst players on the field. As he started to leave, the goalie punted the ball and it hit Bob in the head. Thankfully, Bob was okay, and Bob started playing soccer again. But why did he keep playing soccer after he thought that he was bad? He did it because the absurdity that just happened made him feel better about himself. But if everybody else around Bob was gone, Bob probably wouldn't have laughed as much. This is why normally when somebody makes a joke, they start smiling or laughing to make other people laugh with them, like I did in my first joke. Or even if they didn't get the joke or didn't think the joke was funny. When people normally try to make friends, they normally try all the strategies possible just to make somebody laugh, such as smiling after they laughed, making the joke about someone else. The list goes on and on. People do this because they think being funny will allow them to be popular. But why do people want to be popular? People want to be popular because they think popularity may shield them away from pain and stop them from being picked on. They normally try to make jokes to entertain people and make them become more popular, even though the jokes may be really bad and maybe even insult somebody else. I'm not saying using humor is bad. I'm saying you should use humor in the right way, at the right time, and actually think about the joke you are about to say and think if it may be offensive or it may be plain. Because because using a joke that is offensive or plain may be a very embarrassing moment. In fact, one of the key points about making a joke funny is using a joke at the right time. For example, you would never tell a yo mama joke in front of your mama, because you know that your mama would be offended by the joke and give you a timeout or whatever. You should use a joke at the right time, because using a joke at the right time may make the joke funnier than using a joke at the wrong time. Picture this. You are in a classroom full of kids, and the teacher says, "We have a test coming up on the 3rd of April. And a random kid screams out, "Why did the skunk spray his friend?" Because it was his instinct. As you can see, the joke wasn't really funny. It wasn't funny because the kid used a random joke at a random time that wasn't really the best time to use the joke. An example of using a joke at the right time would be if a kid named Johnny asked what Joe his favorite animal was, and then Joe took out his phone and played this.
And you're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles. That the joke would be funny because it was used at the right time. Another key point about making a joke funny is to think about the joke and to think if the joke might hurt somebody or just be plain and not very well thought. Here's a joke I made in the count of 3 seconds. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to your house. Knock, knock. Who's there? The chicken. As you can see, the joke wasn't very well thought of, and the joke wasn't very funny. Here's a good thought out joke I found on a site called PunMe. My teacher told me to have a good day, so I went home. That joke was funny, A, because it wasn't by me, and B, because the joke was well thought out. That is also why comedy shows take a long while to come out. The last key point about making a joke funny is about using humor in the right way. You may be thinking, how do you use humor in the right way? Well, you would never use a humor to pass a test. Like you wouldn't tell a joke to the teacher so she would give you an A+ on a math test you didn't study for. You should use humor to entertain people. Isn't that what stand-up comedy is all about? Everybody deserves to have a bit of laughter because nobody doesn't like being happy. Let's get into my second part, which is the person who laughs at jokes that are not funny. And yes, people do laugh at offensive jokes. In fact, I have done it, and you may have done it too. We do this because we just want to fit in. Who doesn't? I do it to get out of awkward situations and jokes that are just weird and make no sense. The main reason we do this is because the people around us laugh, and like I proved in the beginning of my talk, laughing is contagious. In fact, to some comedy shows, there are a few people who have funny fake laughs and make the crowd laugh with them. Here's a video I found the other day on YouTube having examples of silly laughs. As you can see from that clip, laughing is contagious, but you shouldn't always laugh just because other people are laughing. If a joke isn't funny, you shouldn't laugh. But you may be thinking, this is impossible, and you're partly correct and partly wrong, because it is not impossible. In the first book of Harry Potter, Dumbledore once said, "It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends." Like most things in life, it takes practice. After being along with my friends for a long time, I started to speak up to my friends when a joke was not funny or the joke offended me. It made me feel more comfortable saying things to my friends. The people who don't speak up when a joke is offensive may be sad and discouraged and feel like this on the inside. But the reason those people laugh at jokes, even if they're not funny, is because you may think the person who made the joke would be offended. They don't want their friend to be angry at them just because they said something that might just maybe offend their friends. Let's face it, we all just want to fit in. We just want to live a comfortable life with friends and family and have no suffering, even if it takes sin and lying. But the people who don't speak up will be hurt in the heart and they will not know how to fix it. The people who do speak up may be hurt in the heart just for a bit, but as soon as they tell the person, "Hey, that joke offended me," the pain will stop immediately. It may leave a couple bruises in your heart, but you will get the pain out of your chest and leave the past behind you. I always wondered what makes a joke truly funny. Peter McGraw at University of Colorado Boulder has a theory where for a joke to be truly funny, it has to be something that is a violation and something that is harmless. A violation is something that either threatens you or does not follow the rules of what you think the world is. A joke that would be pure violation would be if somebody said, "I like turtles," and somebody came by and said, "Turtles stink. They smell like stinky socks and they are so slow. My 100-year-old grandma can crawl faster than turtles." A harmless joke is a joke that is really plain or a joke that was not very well thought of. An example of a harmless joke would be, why did the cow cross the road? Why did the cow jump over the moon? Because he wanted to. For a joke to be truly funny, the joke has to be a violation and the joke has to be harmless. Let's go through some examples. You're walking down a path and you trip over a rock and get seriously hurt. That situation is a violation. But let's say you're walking down a path and you see a rock and walk over it. That situation is harmless and is not funny. Lastly, if you're walking down a path and you trip over a rock and aren't hurt, that situation is a harmless violation and is funny. But half the times we laugh at other people getting hurt. Why? We laugh at other people getting hurt because there's distance between you and the person who's getting hurt. After I learned what makes a joke truly funny, I wondered, what part of the brain makes us laugh, and why does it make us laugh at offensive jokes? When a joke is given, an electrical pattern will go through your cerebral cortex. If it takes a negative charge, it will result in you laughing. But if it takes a positive charge, you will have no response to the joke. Also, when you're given a joke, 3 things will happen. Your frontal lobe, the part of your brain that helps you with social emotional responses, will become very active. The left side of your cortex will analyze the words and structure of the joke. The motor sections of the brain, such as the cerebellum, will make physical responses to the joke. So this results in putting your hand on your belly when you laugh. Lastly, I wanted to know, why do people want to become popular through humor? I learned the reason they want to become popular through humor is because being humorous is entertaining. When you tell a good joke, the person you are telling the joke to will be laughing. And when you laugh, you become happier and more vulnerable to friendship. This also explains why most of the times people make jokes when they want to make friends. This also explains why people use humor to become popular. This technique is normally used when somebody feels kind of lonely and wants a friend. The whole reason we make jokes is because we want to entertain a crowd of friends just for the fun of it. If a joke is bland, people may give you a blank stare like this one. So remember my key points about making a joke funny. Also, don't feel pressured to laugh at a joke that is not funny. It may be hard, but practice makes perfection. Not only in humor, but also in everything. You don't have to alter yourself to fit in. You just need to be yourself. Thank you.